Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the new Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure Sauron figure. Sauron. How do you pronounce it? I don't know why. I guess I've watched too many Lord of the Rings. I keep wanting to say Sauron. Saruman. Isn't there one of those names? Saruman's the wizard. Isn't the main bad guy Sauron also? This guy's a dragon. The other one's an eyeball. I don't know. Anyway, this figure's really good for the most part. A lot of people are really happy with it. I'm mostly happy with it. There's definitely some things we need to talk about. Of course, I have some QC issues on mine, but otherwise, it's pretty cool. So aside from not knowing how to pronounce his name, let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands about 8¼ inches roughly to the top of his head, which makes him just about 21 centimeters, right around there anyway. Depends on how you have him posed. And this guy's pretty impressive. As I was taking him out of the box and building him, as I was looking through my other figures, I was like, hey, they might be onto something here. This isn't too bad. The first thing I checked was the tail. It's not like the lizard tail, thankfully. It's just a fully sculpted static tail, which is more than fine by me. I'm perfectly okay with that. They did give it a hinge back here, which is okay. I think maybe they could have tempered their desire to put this hinge on there, because it did give him a bit of like a saggy diaper look. If you can see the back part of his butt from the front. He's got front butt from the back, so it's a little odd, but it's not a big deal. And then of course you do have these big gaps that look questionable. He's got a butthole, everybody. But again, I can live with it. I get what they were doing. That's fine. You can rotate the tail around, so that's fine. That's cool. Here's the thing. QC issues aside, it's done really well. The only real gripe I have is that the chest is so narrow compared to the hips. He's got exceptionally wide hips, and this makes him look even wider, but this isn't the problem. He's got really wide hips. He's built in a very odd way. Very wide hips, big, bulbous hips, very narrow chest. And he flies with his arms. I don't know if you guys have ever seen birds before, or anything that flies with its arms, essentially. They need big chests. They need them. It's absolutely necessary in order to fly. And he's got a very narrow chest, and it does throw off the look quite a bit. He should have more of that hero V shape rather than a pear shape. He looks like a pregnant middle-aged woman without the belly. So you figure out what that means. I'm not entirely sure. It's not a deal breaker. It's okay. Once you pose him, it's not super noticeable. But having a narrow chest and big hips, not necessarily the best look for any sort of comic book character, especially males. So let's go ahead and put on his diaper, which is nicely done. A few different colors on there. That's pretty cool. They did do some shading throughout the figure. Not a ton for the main body, just basically some light green on top of the dark green. The wings they made out of translucent plastic. I love that. It's a very milky translucent, so you can't like see right through it. But I love that they did that to create that membrane in between the, I can never remember the name of what this is called, but the finger bones that are in wings, whatever those are called. Anyway, it's really nicely done. I love that. Love it. And then for the face is one of my favorite parts. I really, really like the head. Nicely sculpted again, just like on Lizard. Of course, you have the openable mouth, which is really nicely done. But this time, they did a really good job with it. There's no green coming through on the other side. They put the pink all the way down. And you can see it down here a little bit. But I'm okay with that, because I'm going to pose him not like that as often, or I'm not going to rip his head off, as often as I would probably pose him with his mouth open. Just even slightly. Looks very nice. Very nicely done. He's got that very much pterodactyl look to him. Very, very pleased with this. And then the other thing I'm pleased with is the way they engineered the wings. I don't know if you could do much better at this price point with the wings. There's not much overlap out here. I do wish we could have gotten a little bit more, because they could have just done a little more and it would have worked. But right there, and you can even bring the arm all the way forward like that, and you still have wing. So I'm very, very pleased with that. The only issue is not being able to bring it out a little bit more. But even then, that's still plenty. I mean, that's fine. So let's say you have it just a little bit bent. No bent right there. So yeah, that's the wingspan. It's okay. Like I said, it's definitely, you couldn't do too much better. I'm very pleased with it. Now, as far as QC issues on mine go, I just have some weird paint issues. There's a lot of paint rubbing down here from this part, and that's how it came. And then there's also, this joint was totally just not assembled. You can see it's ready to come apart, so I have to fix that. But otherwise, no big deal. So I really, really like the way... Oh, also, this wing keeps coming off, too. Yeah, so like I said, my typical issues, I don't know if anybody else is going to notice or have those issues, but I certainly do. Now, as far as articulation goes, the head's on a double ball peg, so it moves around really nicely up here. And then the neck can also rotate and has a big hinge, so you can bring it all the way forward, which I love. And then you can bring it all the way back, which I love, and that pops off a lot. And it looks good pretty much in either pose, so I'm very, very pleased with that. I like it. Shoulders are your standard ball hinge, better than horizontal though, so that's good. Full rotation, that's good. Bicep swivel's in there. Of course, it's limited by the wing, but that's good. Single jointed elbow, you already saw. Mine's falling apart. Wrists have a hinge and a swivel, so that's good. Big diaphragm joint for the torso, which works pretty well. It's not as good as some of the other ones we've seen, and it's actually pretty loose. It's fairly floppy. Not entirely floppy, but if you give it any reason to flop, it will flop. And so, but that's okay. It's pretty well articulated. I like it. I'll take it. And then for the hips, his big, big birthing hips, you can bring the legs all the way forward, pretty much all the way back, all the way out to the side, full range of motion. This is like the old classic Toy Biz, or even some Hasbro Marvel Legends with the ball hinge hips. So that's kind of interesting, actually, that they went with a full-on ball hinge. Thigh swivel, double jointed knees, and then for the ankle, we can go all the way back, and we can go pretty much all the way forward, and you have a basically perfect ankle rocker. So really, really well done. I really, really don't like how skinny his chest is. He's built like a woman for the most part, and that's not what he should look like, but we're not going to get into that. So yeah, really, really solid figure. Not perfect, but definitely good enough. It's going to look great in the collection. I'm happy to have it because more X-Men characters is always a good thing for me. And so there's my 2 cents, guys. I like it, just and I recommend it. Just be a little bit cautious of some of those issues, and you should be okay. So thanks for watching, guys. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and if you're not already subscribed, I have new videos up just about every single day. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure you come back for all of that, and in the meantime, keep collecting.